आप किस तरीके से आगे बढ़ रहे हैं? वेक्टर क्या-क्या नए R&D कर रहे हैं कि और क्या-क्या इनोवेशंस हो रहे हैं?
Irrespective of EV or IC engine, our products go mainly into the electronics development and software. But then when it comes to EV specifically, there are new requirements that our customers, which are tier 1s and OEMs, have basically to deal with the parameters like electrical parameters, voltage and current and high voltage measurement, as against the traditional IC engines, which had more of physical parameters like hydraulics, pressure, temperature, and so on. So to support that development, so we have test systems, test devices to acquire that physical data and then give it to the developer, to the test engineer to analyze together. So for example, if you look at communication, charging station communication, so there is a defined protocol, CCS or CHAdeMO or GPT. There are 3 standards globally, and now India is also coming up with own standard IS 17017. To support this standard, are the systems developed? तो आपको vehicle अलग से test करना पड़ेगा, charging station अलग से करना पड़ेगा. So how do you simulate the other? If you have to test a charging station, you have to simulate a vehicle. But then you don't need the entire vehicle. You need to simulate that communication and see whether the messages, the data is flowing and is it communicating. So that test systems we have from Vector. And of course, the software tool chain to test that, which is Canoe, which is the main software across used for testing, also supports this smart mobility. And also, when you look at electric vehicles, you're not just measuring voltage and current and limiting it to that. You have to measure complex parameters like efficiency, power factor, and a lot more calculations. So if that is done in the software tool, as and when you measure the basic parameters like voltage and current, then it helps the developer to get a visualization of what is happening in his system upfront, right? So we have such tools like e-mobility analyzer to help in that as well. Or we have components that go directly into the charging station as a small controller that takes care of the communication, while the OEM who's developing the EVSC can build the other high voltage systems and all that.
सर बैटरी ईवी में जो बैटरी है वो मेन पार्ट है, राइट? तो उसको आप, क्योंकि आज पहले लिथियम आयन बैटरीज चली थी, अब सॉलिड स्टेट बैटरीज में भी है, तो उस पे भी आप कुछ वर्क कर रहे हैं कि सॉलिड स्टेट होना चाहिए, कुछ ऐसा होना चाहिए?
नहीं, वो तो OEMs वर्क कर रहे हैं एंड दोज रेस्पेक्टिव एक्सपर्ट सप्लायर्स आर वर्किंग. तो हमारा रोल कहाँ पे आता है? टू टेस्ट दिस, टू रियली सी इन टर्म्स ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिकल परफॉर्मेंस, हाउ इज इट डूइंग. सो वी हैव दोस smart sensors, the like D-temp cell, which sit on every cell to measure the cell temperature to see the behavior.
क्या आते हैं उसमें?
Exactly. तो वो टेस्ट करने के लिए हमारे सिस्टम्स यूज करते हैं.
अभी तक जैसे आपने कोई चीज टेस्ट करी है तो कौन-कौन से चैलेंजेस आपको फेस करने पड़ते हैं?
हम नहीं करते हैं, हमारे प्रोडक्ट्स यूज करके हमारे कस्टमर्स करते हैं. तो उनको फोकस जो होता है कि चैलेंजेस देखना है एंड टू रियली अंडरस्टैंड देयर सिस्टम, उसको सिंप्लीफाई करने के लिए हमारे प्रोडक्ट यूज करते हैं.
ओके, सो 2025 के लिए आपकी क्या प्लानिंग है, स्ट्रेटजीज है, क्या कैसे आप उसको आगे करेंगे? 2025 में क्या आपके नए प्लान्स हैं?
Sure. So अभी as in India, there are a lot of global companies expanding their development centers in India because their challenges are quite unique. They're dealing with new architecture. They need a lot of software development engineers जो इंडिया में है. हमारे पास कैपेबिलिटी भी है, कैपेसिटी भी है. So they are coming down to India, setting up their development centers here because they have not just availability of engineers but knowledgeable engineers. Because industry has evolved around this in automotive in India in terms of global centers, technology centers. So they are leveraging that. Alongside that, the local OEMs and tier 1s are taking a big step. They are leaping because they are not just looking at to do in a stage-wise approach. So they are saying, I want to bring in technology a lot more, bring in software-defined vehicle. As you see now, already Mahindra has launched. So the other OEMs are also working on it. So it will come soon in the market, right? So they have this opportunity that we can bring the India advantage in terms of software. We have already very strong presence in India in the IT software, in all across industries. And automotive software development was happening, but for the West. So using that capability, how can we leverage that for the local ecosystem? And Indian OEMs are really, very innovative here and not just following the West, but thinking, as you heard also in the panel discussion, thinking what is relevant for India. And that's where we also play in a big role as Vector. So we bring in our products and which are agnostic to the powertrain, which are agnostic to the kind of class of vehicle. So our products are used in passenger vehicles, in commercial vehicles, two-wheeler development, and they are across that, right? So they focus on the primary part, which is electronics and software development, to make the engineer who is working on this, to help him out to focus on his application and to resolve the complexity there. So that's what we play in a nutshell as Vector, what we do.